Okay, let's talk about fgets and what you should do after you call it. We're going to include the standard IO header and the string header for this example. And we want to go ahead and define a buffer length. And I just go ahead and add my null terminator in the buffer length definition, make it simpler on the calls. So let's go ahead and give our buffer variable with the size of buffer length, and we'll print a prompt. And we'll go ahead and call fgets to get some text from the keyboard. So as you know, fgets requires 3 arguments: the buffer, the length that you want to get, and then where's it coming from. We're going to be using standard input. We'll do one on with the actual file afterwards. So we're going to use that same buffer length, and we're going with standard in keyboard. And we'll print the output. Save that, go over and compile. And run it. And we got a size 10. We'll just hello. It prints hello. Run it again, and we'll print something that's too big this time. And it does what we expected to do. So it gives us 10 characters. So now let's go ahead and run it again. We're going to run it twice this time to see what happens with the overflow. We'll just run it normally again first. No overflow. Everything works like we'd expect. This time let's go and overflow the first value with something that's too big to fit in 10 characters. And what happened is the first 10 characters printed out, and then the rest of the first string that we typed in was still in the keyboard stream, the standard I/O stream. So fgets went ahead and took that and placed it in the buffer. So what we need to do is get rid of that overflow. The way we do that is look for the newline character and throw everything away up until the newline character. So we'll go ahead and use the string char function to take care of that. And what this is doing is looking for the first newline character in buffer. And if there's no newline character, that means we overflowed. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And we're going to get rid of it character by character. So what it's saying is, until we find the newline character, which happens every time we press enter on the keyboard, then it's going to continue to throw away. It's going to continue to get that character and then just throw it away. So let's see what we got now. So let's go ahead and test it again. And we'll overflow this first one. And then it asks for a second one after it gets the 10 characters. So now if we wanted to continue calling after this one here, then we're going to have to keep on doing this every single time, throwing everything away. So what we could do is go ahead and put that into its own separate function. So let's go ahead and do that and make it simple. So we'll call this function fgets clean. And we'll want a pointer to the buffer. We'll want a buffer length. And we're going to assume standard in. Because it works a little bit different with files. Because you have to account for the end of file character. whenever you're cleaning up afterwards. So we're just going to go with the fgets buffer. It don't matter what this variable is. This and this is totally separate because it's a different scope. And then the buffer length. And then standard input. So we'll take this and we'll put it up here. And then we'll return the buffer. Now, if there's no newline character, or if there is a newline character, and all you want is a string, then we can go ahead and get rid of the newline character in this with this function as well while we're at it. So we'll do it like this: str cspan. And what the cspan function does is everything up to, in this case, everything up to the newline character, it gives us a count of all the characters up to that point. There's plenty of different ways you can do this. So we'll just go ahead and, whenever we find the newline character, we'll go ahead and convert it to a null terminator. So now we can call our new fgets. We'll call fgets clean. We don't have to use standard in because it's included. And same here. So let's see if we can compile this. And we'll check to see if it works without overflow again. Works just fine. Now we'll overflow the characters. And it works fine. So that's how you get rid of your overflow. Now with files, it's a little bit different. Let's go ahead and clean that screen up. And we'll start a new program for the files. Let's give it a test file. Test.txt. Okay, the test file, we're going to give it a couple of lines. Give it, this line is short. And this line is much longer than the first line. And this is about 18 characters, so we'll go with the buffer length of 20. Write that. And I'm going to use a snippet for this. So a little bit less typing. So let's give this a buffer length of 20. Plus our null terminator. File fp equals fopen test.txt read mode. Not going to do any error checking for this example. And our buffer variable with buffer length. Okay, now let's go. We'll close that file. I like to close it now so that I don't have to remember later. I don't forget. When you don't close a file, there's a memory leak. It's about 400 bytes or something, but still. I don't remember how many bytes it is. Anyway, let's go while fgets buffer length file pointer it's not equal null. Printf this is another problem with not getting rid of the newline where you're using fgets, because fgets doesn't give you just the string, it gives you everything, including the newline. So that should do it. Let's go ahead and run this. So let's go with the fgets file. And we see what happens here. The first line fits in the buffer. The second line doesn't. So here it overflows after the 20 characters. It gets another 20 characters, and there's still overflow in the stream. And then it gives you the rest of it. And then it gives you an extra line in here. So we need to get rid of that. And we can do that with the same thing. Let's go ahead and open the fgets again. We'll open that in a new tab. To steal our function here. Okay, so this will take care of the overflow, but we're going to have a problem here, and I'll show you the problem before we fix it. Oh, let's go ahead and get rid of our null terminator as well. Make that. Clean up the code. Okay, let's see what happens here. It stopped. What happened is we're in a infinite loop because we reached the end of the file. So we have to change this so that it looks not only for the newline character, but it also looks for the end of the file. So what we want to do is change this we'll add a discard character variable. So now it's searching for, it's discarding up to the newline character, and if the discard character equals end of file, then it'll go ahead and break. Oh. That's the perils of copy and paste. We're not grabbing anything from standard in here. Okay. So let's see what happens now. And there we go. It grabs 20 characters, and it grabs 20 characters. So it's all fixed now. So that's how you do fgets the right way. Anyway, thanks for watching. There'll be a link to the source code in the description.